Bryan Caplan, The Myth of the Rational Voter, Why Democracies Choose Bad Policies. In the book, The Myth of the Rational Voter, Why Democracies Choose Bad Policies, Bryan Caplan explores the assumptions behind the functioning of democracy and sheds light on the reasons why democracies sometimes fail to deliver effective policies. Delving into the miracle of aggregation and its limitations, the book discusses the role of biases, such as the mistrust of the free market and foreign trade, in distorting voters' opinions. Furthermore, Caplan highlights the importance of emotional attachment and personal interests in shaping voters' choices. This summary will provide a comprehensive understanding of the key themes and arguments put forth by the author.
The Miracle of Aggregation and Democracy. Democracy is considered a great achievement in human history. It's based on the miracle of aggregation, where the average answer given by a group tends to be correct. This phenomenon is applied to politics, where the average voter might not be well informed, but divergent opinions of a large group of voters will nullify each other, leading to a moderate and informed result. In a perfect democracy, popular ideas prevail, and extreme viewpoints are cancelled out. The miracle of aggregation is what makes democracy function better than dictatorships, where only certain elites hold opinions contrary to the majority. The East German government's decision to build the Berlin Wall in 1961 stood in stark contrast to the general political sentiment of the East German people. If the country had been democratic, such a wall would never have been built. The book explores why sometimes democracies fail. The miracle of aggregation. Governments fail to promote the common good due to widespread biases leading to contradicting policies. The miracle of aggregation, which works by varying opinions, has one fatal flaw: biased information. Biases are popular and widespread as demonstrated by the 1996 SAE, where ordinary citizens' economic opinions differ significantly from economists'. Biases prevent the miracle of aggregation from fulfilling its role, causing policy implementations to fall short of the common good. The power of free markets. In this segment of the book, the author discusses the common bias against the free market. Most people believe that any action driven by profit is harmful to society. However, this is a result of a false understanding of market principles. The money earned by selling a product or service is revenue, which is distinct from profits. Revenue is used to reinvest in cost-effective factories and employ more labor, which ultimately benefits society. The author argues that free market processes are of greater benefit to society than people tend to think. The anti-market bias is one of many pervasive biases that affect society. Misconceptions of foreign trade. Many people harbor a bias against foreign trade, believing that only the exporting country benefits. However, trade and exchange benefit both parties involved. This bias stems from the misconception that when importing more goods than exporting, a country is losing money. In reality, successful trades benefit every participant in the market. Like dividing household chores, it is sensible to trade services as it ensures tasks are completed faster and benefits all parties. Despite this, statistics reveal a common distrust of foreign trade. The bias against trade deals also spills into the job market, with many assuming that trade agreements destroy American jobs. However, economists believe that such deals do not eliminate domestic jobs. The benefits of job reductions. While job reductions may invite public fury, they can benefit the economy as a whole. Though losing gainful employment poses significant challenges, it frees up the workforce to be utilized more efficiently in other industries. Technological advancements have made it possible for fewer individuals to accomplish tasks formerly requiring many hands. While this can be hard for individual farmers or families, it opens up employment opportunities in other sectors. The economy undergoes growth as a result of a flexible workforce. With the steady supply of employees freed up by the Industrial Revolution, the expanding technological sector wouldn't have advanced so much without them. On a smaller scale, installing a dishwasher in your home frees up whoever used to do dishes by hand to engage in other activities. Though several significant biases have been discussed as threats to democracy, there are still more to consider. Selfish voting for a better democracy. People's emotional beliefs, party preferences, and opinions on economy are more important than personal gain when they cast their ballots. However, voting for personal interests would lead to the election of politicians who would act in favor of the majority of citizens. While it is common to believe that voters are selfish and only care about their interests, it appears that people's voting choices are not solely motivated by personal gain. Instead, people tend to vote based on their emotional beliefs, party preferences, or opinions on what's best for the economy as a whole. This mentality might seem positive, but it is actually detrimental to democracy because it does not lead to the election of politicians who would act in favor of the majority of citizens. In 1980, David Sears, a political psychologist, disproved the idea of the selfish voter by showing that the unemployed and uninsured people only slightly or moderately favored government-guaranteed employment and universal health care, respectively. Instead, if every voter were motivated solely by personal gain, they would be more careful in informing themselves and voting for the party or candidate that offered them the greatest chance of fulfilling their goals. In other words, acting selfishly is the best way to ensure that politicians and parties who act in the interests of the many are elected. Therefore, this book argues that people should prioritize personal gain when voting to improve democracy and elect politicians who will work towards the benefit of the majority of citizens. Emotional attachments and biases in the voting process. People tend to vote based on their emotional attachments and biases rather than pure self-interest, leading to the hindrance of the miracle of aggregation that is fundamental to democracy. People cling to their beliefs, even in the face of persuasive arguments, and vote for politicians who align with their emotionally fueled ideologies. This emotional attachment to specific beliefs can be so strong that people vehemently argue against those who oppose them. However, in the end, individual voters have very little influence over the outcome of an election. It is crucial to acknowledge these negative influences of emotional attachments and biases within the voting process and their effects on democracy. The irrationality of voting. Voting behavior based on emotions and biases. In today's democratic system, voting is considered as a vital process in shaping a nation's future. But have you ever wondered if voters really base their political views on rational thoughts? In the book, The Art of Thinking Clearly, the author explores why people tend to ignore facts and reasons when it comes to voting. According to the book, the problem is that voters have little reason to think that how they vote will have a direct impact on their actual lives. Since millions of people are voting in any given election, the chances of a single vote changing the outcome are close to none. Therefore, voters tend to stick to their emotions and biases when selecting their preferred candidate. The book also explains that people only tend to reconsider their beliefs if it appears to do them direct harm, such as when it causes them to suffer a financial loss. This is similar to a shop owner who only sells goods to people of a specific religion or political view, and ends up losing potential customers due to their beliefs. As soon as it starts to affect their business, they reconsider their beliefs or how it influences their business practices. Overall, the book highlights how our belief systems and emotions play an enormous role in the way that we vote. It emphasizes the importance of understanding this reality and how it affects our democratic system, which is based on the assumption that rational voters are in the majority.
Bryan Caplan's The Myth of the Rational Voter uncovers the factors that hinder the effective functioning of democracies, focusing on biases and emotional attachments that influence voters' decision-making. Through this exploration, Caplan shows how democracy may at times fail to lead to optimal outcomes, as voters may be swayed by misinformation or preconceived beliefs instead of rational self-interest. Ultimately, this book serves as a valuable guide for understanding the complexities of the democratic process and the importance of informed decision-making. By confronting misconceptions and addressing the shortcomings of the rational voter theory, Caplan offers a fresh perspective on the flaws and potential improvements to our democratic systems.